Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we're tackling something huge. We are breaking down literally one of the most incredibly seductive promises in personal finance right now. Moving across state lines for a massive instant tax break. If you've been looking for ways to keep more of your hard-earned money, you have absolutely seen the headlines or heard the pitch. It all starts with four incredibly powerful words. No state income tax. Right? I mean, every single year, hundreds of thousands of remote workers, families, and retirees pack up their entire lives, rent a U-Haul, and chase the magic of this exact pitch, totally convinced they found a legal loophole to wealth.
And honestly, on paper, it really does look like magic. Think about it. Say you're pulling in a solid salary. Moving from a state like California over to Texas creates this amazing illusion that you are giving your paycheck an instant multi-thousand-dollar raise. We're talking sometimes upwards of $8,000. Just by signing a new lease and swapping your mailing address, boom, you are suddenly richer.
Well, let's just pause for a second here. Ask yourself, where is the state's money really coming from? Because here is the reality check. States still have to pave roads, they still have to fund schools, and they gotta pay police officers. If a state isn't taking that revenue out of your paycheck, they're absolutely taking it from somewhere else. So today, we need to uncover those hidden traps that they conveniently leave out of the shiny moving brochure.
So here's exactly how we're going to break this down. First, the seductive tax myth, then property and sales taxes, insurance, and living costs, the residency audit trap, the real math, and we'll wrap up with your pre-move checklist. Let's dive in.
All right, part one, the seductive tax myth.
So if you're a remote worker shopping around for the cheapest state or maybe a retiree trying to stretch a fixed income, the idea of boosting your purchasing power just by crossing an imaginary line on a map, it's irresistible. Right now there are 9 states riding this pitch. You've got Texas, Florida, Nevada, Washington, Tennessee, Wyoming, South Dakota, Alaska, and New Hampshire. Though New Hampshire is kind of a mostly because they don't tax wages but do have other specific rules. These states are proudly flying that zero-income tax flag. But remember what we just said, on paper, things are rarely as simple as they seem.
Which brings us to part 2, property and sales taxes.
Let's look at a classic comparison. California has a high income tax, yes, for sure, but its property taxes are strictly capped right around 1%, thanks to a law called Proposition 13. Texas, on the flip side, offers zero income tax, which sounds great, but its property tax rates are incredibly high, averaging somewhere between 1.6 and 1.8%. They aren't taxing your paycheck, right? But they are aggressively taxing your house. Let's put some concrete math to this to put it in perspective. In Texas, that percentage translates to over $5,500 every single year on just a moderately priced $350,000 home. And hey, that's not a one-time moving fee. That is forever, literally for as long as you own that house. So for a modest earner buying a nice home, your big income tax savings, actually scratch that. It just gets wiped out entirely by the massive property tax bill.
And it gets sneakier, because states will quietly claw back your savings at the cash register if they can't get it from your property. Take Tennessee, no income tax, but its combined sales tax averages 9.55%. Washington state hits around 9.4% in places like Seattle. What does that mean for you? It means groceries, clothes, electronics, and especially big-ticket items like cars are taxed really heavily. If you go buy a new vehicle, that car sales tax is calculated on the full purchase price. We're talking an extra $2,000 or $3,000 due instantly. These hidden sin and sales taxes just quietly eat away at the budget of anyone who spends a large chunk of their income.
Moving on to part 3, insurance and living costs. Look, a tax break means absolutely nothing if your basic cost of living completely flips the equation. I mean, a fancy spreadsheet claiming you'll save $8,000 in income tax is pretty much worthless if it ignores this next reality. In Florida, homeowners insurance frequently hits $4,000 to $6,000, or even more, every single year. Because of severe hurricane and climate risks, some insurers have literally just packed up and stopped writing policies altogether. This forces homeowners into these wildly expensive state-backed insurance pools. And man, it doesn't just stop at coastal hurricanes either. If you move from a tech hub like Seattle to a smaller town in Texas, you might actually face lower regional salary bands for the exact same remote job. Plus, you've got to factor in massive wildfire or hail insurance premiums in states like Nevada and Texas. And here's another huge one. States that collect less tax revenue often have fewer subsidized healthcare programs. They even face rural hospital closures. So if you're a retiree on a fixed income, losing access to affordable healthcare is a totally devastating hidden cost.
All right, part 4, the residency audit trap.
Okay, pay attention here because this is the legal nightmare that actually gets well-meaning people into very serious financial trouble. Just moving your mailbox is not enough. A residency audit happens when aggressive states like New York, California, or Illinois turn around and claim you are still a statutory resident. If you're working remotely but you keep your old apartment, spend a meaningful amount of time back there, or even just hold on to your old driver's license, they will absolutely argue that you never really left. And guess what? They'll tax your income anyway, leaving you paying your old state's taxes on top of your new state's high living costs. No way you want that.
So here's exactly how you protect yourself legally. You have to fully sever ties. Step 1. You need to spend more than 50% of the year in your new state. Step 2. Get a new driver's license, like immediately. Step 3. Register to vote there. Step 4. Move your primary bank accounts. And Step 5, honestly the most important one, keep strict documentation of all of this. It's like a giant puzzle, and if you get audited, you must be able to prove every single one of these steps with a rock-solid paper trail.
Let's hit Part 5, the real math.
Let's put some actual, hard numbers on this hypothetical move to see what really happens to your wallet. Take a household making $100,000 a year, buying a $400,000 home. In California, they're paying roughly $6,000 to $7,000 in income tax, plus about $4,000 in property tax. Now, move them to Texas, and boom, that income tax drops to zero. Awesome, right? But wait, the property tax on that exact same house jumps to nearly $7,000. It almost doubles. The reality? Once you factor in those higher sales taxes we talked about, your net savings are really just $1,000 to $3,000 a year. Sure, it's still a savings, but it's a far cry from that $7,000 fairy tale the internet promised you.
Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't a scam, it's just highly, highly specific. There are real winners here. Number 1, higher earners with modest homes, where your massive income tax savings easily cover that property tax bump. Number 2, renters, who basically avoid the property tax trap almost entirely. And number 3, retirees who are drawing from non-tax retirement accounts rather than a standard W-2 paycheck. If you happen to fit into one of these 3 groups, moving really is a brilliant financial strategy, for sure.
Finally, Part 6, your pre-move checklist.
To wrap up this explainer, I want to empower you to do your own math before making any massive, life-changing decisions. Before you even open Zillow, run this 60-second checklist. First, find the specific county property tax rate. Seriously, never use the state average. Second, get an exact zip code insurance quote, because the difference between coastal and inland is just massive. Third, calculate the local sales tax against your actual spending habits. Fourth, check if the new state taxes retirement or Social Security income differently. And fifth, completely understand your old state's residency rules. If you run these numbers with your exact situation, you'll find the real truth in about 20 minutes.
Which brings us to the ultimate question for you. What is the real, hidden cost in the state you're considering moving to? I want you to do the math and drop a comment with your target state below, and we can do a personalized breakdown of the hidden fees waiting for you down there. And hey, make sure you're subscribed because next week we are doing a deep dive into the legal nightmare of residency audits and how people accidentally get double taxed. You absolutely will not want to miss it. See you then.